transmission. You are the resistance. Live from the Infowars.com studios, it's Alex Jones. There are not words for me to describe how truly epic the times we live in are. I am so thankful to my family, to the crew, to our viewers and listeners, the activists, but most importantly to God, for putting us in the position to take a head-on run at the globalists and to see such incredible success. Overall, I am beyond pleased with President Trump. I will warn Trump when I think things could be a setup, but in general, I have extreme faith in the fact that he's a good man that the evil globalists hate, and we know that's true. I have been massively persecuted for my support of Trump, which is fine. I signed up for this, but that's really the marker or the highlighting of the fact that we're on the right track. So, we have a lot to cover here today on this July 4th transmission, but yesterday's interview with General Flynn was so important. I'm going to re-air it coming up at the bottom of the hour in only like 25 minutes from now. And we'll continue on with a raft of incredible interviews. And you should definitely share the interview that is on X at Real Off Shows. Because we have these coup members. And we have the CIA's own report. And you go, oh, the CIA. I already reported all this 2017, 2018 through now. I already know it up one side and down the other. I already know it's all true. They published the CIA against itself. That's never happened in its history since 1947, the National Security Act. That the CIA Director Ratcliffe finds Obama admin, Brennan, Comey, and Clapper, the three ringwraiths, conceive the Trump-Russia collusion hoax as a political weapon against MAGA and America and the will of the voters. Here's the report. With the exhibits, their own emails, their own messages, how they did it to try to overturn the election, to have the fake impeachments. This is treason. Then you've got the Senate report from Grassley, came out weeks ago, got almost no coverage, with all the documents and whistleblowers, that Communist China with Venezuela, the CIA, the Democratic Party, in 2020, shipped in the fake ballots marked for Joe Biden. And I know it's true, we reported it all the time. Only other organization did a better job than us, and they did, was a gateway pundit. The whistleblowers, the documents, the USPS drivers, they all did the right thing and told the truth. The Chinese driving in Michigan and Pennsylvania, others, at 2 a.m., 1 a.m., with the trucks, offloading the ballots. And Patriot shot video of it, said, look, it's all only marked for Biden. It's all crisp. It wasn't mailed. It's been shipped in. And the mules dropping off the deliveries. It's incredible. That's coming up at the bottom of the hour. But in the final equation, we must see immediate action. And we must, with this total proof, on Crossfire Hurricane directed by Obama, the Stay Behind Networks in this coup, and on 4 years later, 2020, the Communist Chinese, with Venezuela, the Democrats. It's cut and dry. We have them. This isn't hand in the cookie jar. This is like cops busting in when a guy's robbing the bank and they're handing him the cash. This is open and shut level developments. And the corporate media is not going to report on this. It's up to the independent free media to do it. It's up to you to share the feed right now on Real Off Shows. It's up to you to take the archive of the interview yesterday on X of Flynn and share it on your email, on your text messages. And tell those you share it to share it, and tell those they share it to share it, and so on. That's called the chain reaction. I harp on the chain reaction every hour, at least for 30 seconds, because it's where victory lies. You recognizing the agency you have of free will and the power you have to override these systems of propaganda and deception. They wouldn't be working so hard to suppress Hunter Biden laptop and all the rest of it and Crossfire Hurricane if they didn't know it could bring them down, and we're that close right now. But let's talk about what the bad guys are doing. Yesterday, another Obama-appointed judge, just days after the Supreme Court said Article 3 courts created by Congress are not co-equal the legislative or executive, and cannot do nationwide injunctions against the executive. You weren't elected popularly. The only person nationwide elected is the president. You aren't little emperors. You can't do that. And what did I say months ago and weeks ago and yesterday? I said, watch. District judges can, with a class action suit that's been won, demand the Supreme Court try to hear it. But instead, now the judge is saying he's treating groups of illegal aliens set for deportation, most of them with giant criminal records on top of it, as a class, and that he's doing a new injunction. Well, the different conservative judges of the court have issued statements saying, we knew you'd do that, and we're going to block that as well. And they told the lower courts, if you think you're going to do that, we're going to come in not in 160 days like they did in the first round. We're going to come in quickly. But that didn't stop people like Moss. Put him on screen. Look at the arrogance of that megalomaniac, hyper-narcissist. He doesn't care. He wants to show off to all his little buddies. You can't deport rapists and murderers. I say they didn't even file a class action. I say this is a class action. And I say the President of the United States, meaning the voters, you need to sit down and shut up. What did Bob Villain, the big BBC-backed rapper, say earlier in the week at that big BBC televised show? He said, you don't like your country being conquered by Muslims? Sit down and shut the F up. Shut up. Shut up. And the government will arrest you if you criticize that, but they televise that piece of garbage saying shut up. Why? Because they're scared of you speaking out. Well, they can't silence us all. Just like in a bug's life, the grasshoppers are saying to the head grasshopper, hey, we got plenty of grain and food here. Why are we going to go back? Because that one ant stood up to us. He said, because those little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, it's over for us. So we're going back there. So Judge blocked sweeping asylum crackdown after Trump declared invasion at southern border. U.S. District Judge Randolph Moss said Trump's proclamation declaring an invasion at the border cannot be used to justify unilateral restorations he sought to impose on asylum seekers. So he says, I'm filing a class action. Class action is going to be brought by people. No, he just says, I do it. Holy smokes, Justice Alito called it. Remember the victory we had at SCOTUS over the nationwide injunctions? He wrote, don't think to lower courts in his decision, even before this happened with Moss, that you're going to do fake class action universal injunctions. We're going to slap that down real fast. And here's what he said. Universal injunction will return from the grave under the guise of nationwide class relief, and today's decision will be a little more than a minor academic interest, because I'm going to say we're going to slap that down. So, more tyranny while they say Trump is a dictator. More lies. More fraud. But here's more of the actions Trump's taking. Justice Department is now exploring using criminal charges against election officials who don't follow executive orders or election law and allow illegals to vote without IDs and more. New York Times. So we're seeing the right movement there. Trump withholds nearly $7 billion from schools with little explanation. Remember that? No, he signed executive orders months ago saying, on the date 2 days ago, that if you keep transgender brainwashing or illegal aliens getting benefits, we will cut your federal education funding. And he's now done that. More of how you take action. But instead, the corporate media goes, we don't know why he did this. He wants to cut the school lunch program. He did no such thing. But that's how they try to confuse the public. So they try to keep politically illiterate. And also, the documents have come out that Gates, the Democrats, and Big Pharma have a consortium to attack RFK Jr., HHS head, who really is the MVP right now taking action. From one level saying he's bad and evil and going to kill tens of millions with what he's doing with no evidence, to another level having right-wing influencers that they give talking points to and pay, saying that he's not really MAGA. But they are moving to take out the poison dyes, the fluoride. It's already happening. States are banning it. They've got their autism report coming out. They've already said it shows that the vaccine's directly linked to it. And they've taken away liability protection from the vaccines, which means these companies won't be able to even put them out. And then the FDA and mRNA COVID shots cause myocarditis. They come out yesterday. It's a 15-minute report on the official FDA feed with their head scientist saying, no, we already know the shots are causing myocarditis. They put a report out a few days ago saying it's also directly linked to autism. So the report he promises in September that derails everything they've done and overturns the whole poison shot system, the whole social control, eugenics, depopulation system, they're already softening things up with the artillery ahead of that. This is amazing. Meanwhile, Senator Rand Paul, working with FBI Director Patel to investigate Fauci malfeasance, may force Crooked Dr. Fauci to testify under oath. The criminal investigations are ongoing. Kennedy also exposes how the globals are cutting off farms to cause mass starvation and control. HHS Secretary Kennedy, Fauci pardoned by Biden to protect from creation of COVID, and CDC hid 1,135% spike in autism rates from hepatitis B shot. Fauci pardoned by Biden to protect from creation of COVID, how they created COVID and hid what was happening. It was all on purpose, ladies and gentlemen. And it goes on from there. Kennedy talking about how Trump, behind the scenes, is absolutely so concerned about what's happening. Plus, he's doing it publicly. So, very, very powerful, important information, but you're not going to see the corporate media reporting on that. It's up to us to get these reports out. I keep going back to you. Like in V for Vendetta, when the head inspector is talking to V in disguise, they're meeting out of the park at some statues. Remember those killed by the bioweapon released by the government, bringing martial law, foreshadowing of COVID. And he says, if you knew all this, the V, why didn't you go to me before? I mean, why did you speak out before? And he said, Inspector, I was waiting for you. I was waiting for you. And that's why the whistleblowers and everything we're doing is so important. All of us together are what's going to turn this around. I'm not going to fix it. Trump's not going to fix it. Pam Body's not going to fix it. Tom Homan's not going to fix it. RFK Jr.'s not going to fix it. Tucker Carlson's not going to fix it. Joe Rogan's not going to fix it. Elon Musk isn't going to fix it. All of us together, from the lowest level to the highest level, making the right decisions, having courage, and telling the truth, we are going to fix it. And that leads me now to the passage yesterday of the big, beautiful bill, which has a bunch of pork in it, and it's got issues, but they pulled out the AI dictatorship section and a bunch of others, thank God. I couldn't support it until then, 3 days ago. But to watch Hakeem Jeffries in his biggest filibuster in history, the record, 25 hours, he did 8. They just say he did. They don't care. Because they love their father, lies. He said over and over again that this is an attack on the working class, where he was opposing getting rid of taxes on tips and giant record tax cuts on the working class and middle class. What a monstrous person. But that's why in all the polls, there's a total political realignment with the Republican Party now, the party of the working people, because they understand it. So Hakeem Jeffries can talk about the working class, the common people all day long. It's a lie, and more people now understand it. And that's why the Democrats, which is the globalist arm, are so panicked and so scared. And Carville saying Trump's going to declare martial law and Trump's a dictator and he's going to kill the migrants because they're gearing up for the false flags. And that won't work either. but it can cause a lot of destabilization problems. That's why we're here exposing it, so that we can get ahead of that and understand what's going on. But we have record 147,000 jobs, way above expectations. I have all these other factory orders and energy prices plunging, and Trump is winning in his agenda faster than I thought he could do. We have the Federal Reserve refusing to cut interest rates. We have the Moody's and the big globalist rating agencies lowering our ratings more, and the New York Times saying, oh, the U.S. is about to fail, even though we're winning worldwide in way better position than China or the EU or Canada or any of these countries. Now it's like 13 trillion is committed, 5 trillion is already flooded in. Because we got a president saying America's open for business again. The Keystone Pipeline's getting opened up and all the rest of it. But they just keep telling you, you're a loser, you're a failure, it's over, it's over, it's over. And that's why Trump says don't be panicking on the economy. The last ingredient to a successful economy is optimism and confidence. So I won't sit here and give you fake confidence. I won't sit here when something's dangerous or bad or I think wrong. Hopefully it turns out okay, like the Iran stuff. So far it has. I've said, okay, we'll see. But 95% of the time, I'm in alignment with Trump. And the left tries to make that a big issue. Oh, Jones only doesn't support Trump. That's another one of their lies. Jones turns on Trump. The headlines every day. No, I don't. I'm not in a cult. Trump doesn't want a cult.